Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Separate Like Stars by Diana Kane, narrated by Abby Craden. Chapter 1. I stare at the blank page, the cursor hypnotizing me as my mind fails once again to produce something worthy of filling the void in front of me. The hushed din of the other coffee shop patrons surrounds me, providing little distraction from that taunting cursor. I came here hoping to find inspiration, perhaps that one overheard line or conversation that could unravel in my mind into my next bestseller, but it just isn't happening. I close my eyes and tip my head back, willing myself not to scream out in frustration as life carries on for those around me. "Aren't you Jordan Cohen?" I hear the feminine voice ask, a mixture of nervousness and excitement in her tone. I want to sigh, and if I lived in a place where this was a regular occurrence, I probably would. Instead, I plaster on my best fake smile and open my eyes to take in the young woman who stands before me. She looks to be all of 14. Is she even old enough to read my work? "Hello," I answer, hoping she refrains from squealing or anything else that might draw more attention to us. I finished high school here, so I'm blessedly left alone for the most part. However, there is always that odd occurrence where someone turns my presence into a celebrity sighting. "What's your name?" I ask when she continues to stare at me like a hungry zombie. "Monica," she eventually responds. "I've read all of your books. I can't wait for the next one," she excitedly informs me. It seems she's wrested control from the cat that had her tongue at least. I can't wait for my next book either, I think, as I continue forcing that smile. "Thank you. That really means a lot. I'll have it out as soon as I'm able," I promise her. "Do you have a favorite?" "Oh, I love—" "Monica, come on, we have to go." The young man interrupts Monica's response as he takes his place at her side. He looks over at me, his eyes widening slightly in recognition as Monica scowls at him. "Aren't you dating Addison Foster?" he asks, apparently no longer in a hurry to leave. "I am," I answer, hoping this interaction will be over soon. I don't mind saying hello, maybe having a quick conversation, signing an autograph or taking a picture, but I shy away from personal questions. Part of the reason I returned to Jupiter Falls was a desire to have some semblance of private life, even if that isn't always the case. "She's hot," he informs me, like I didn't already know. "Is she here?" he asks, turning his head left and then right to look around the coffee shop. "Seriously, Chad, stop it," Monica chides him. "I'm afraid she isn't here," I inform him, much to his disappointment. "Bummer," he mutters before turning to Monica. "Come on. Mom and Dad are going to wonder if we got lost," he orders as he turns to walk toward the front of the shop. Ah, the family on the move. Likely stopping in the sleepy town for a coffee fix and bathroom break. Not that uncommon, given that Jupiter Falls is pretty much the halfway point between major cities. "It was nice to meet you," she calls over her shoulder as they walk away. Yes, that's me, Jordan Cohen, author of several best-selling novels, creator of the Legacy trilogy, whose final movie installment will be sweeping the world late next year. At least, that's how the world sees me. Truthfully, I'm just someone with a vivid imagination and the time on her hands to put those ideas on a page to be shared with anyone kind enough to spare some time to read them. Only now that imagination has gone on an extended vacation, leaving me to wonder if she'll ever return. Blink, blink, blink. The cursor continues to taunt me as my frustration grows. I tip my head back again and close my eyes, willing anyone around me to say something interesting. Maybe I should try a new location, I think, as I continue eavesdropping on the people around me. I open my eyes again and search the room. Perhaps I don't need to hear something. Maybe I simply need to see it. A physical interaction that sparks an idea. An article in a newspaper or a magazine that fosters my creativity. Hell, maybe even an image on a t-shirt would do. A quick scan of the shop yields nothing, resulting in me dropping my head and staring into my tea. I mindlessly twirl the spoon in my tepid brew as I try to brainstorm a new location to try writing in. Typically, I write from the privacy of my home, preferring the quiet familiarity of my space to the distraction of unknown people and noise in the outside world. Occasionally I find myself here, seated in a comfortable armchair in the back of the town's only coffee shop, letting my stream of consciousness flow from my fingertips. May I have a triple caramel soy latte, please? I'm so absorbed in stirring my tea that it takes a moment for my brain to make the connections. The association slowly pushes to the forefront of my awareness, causing an unpleasant chill to pass through me. I'd never forget her order, or that sultry voice that oozes desire when you're the object of her affection. I quickly glance around the shop, nearly spilling my tea in the process, but don't see her anywhere. My heart races with panic. I can feel the light sheen of sweat that's starting to coat my skin. I close my eyes and swear I can smell her perfume, the familiar musk, vanilla, and sandalwood mixture that seems to have burned its way into my receptors. I glance around the shop again, before closing my eyes and taking a deep breath, followed by another. The writer's block is making me crazy, I assure myself as I pinch the bridge of my nose. I take another look around, but can't decide if I feel relief or disappointment when I don't see her. Just my mind deceiving me. Probably the familiar order triggering all of those other memories. I mean, she can't be the only woman on the planet to survive on triple caramel soy lattes, can she? It's not possible. I shake my head as I start packing up my laptop, ready to give up for the day. I pause as I'm about to power it down, the pointer loitering over the shutdown option. After a moment's hesitation, I slide over and open the file, the one story that I'm not sure I'll ever finish or allow another soul to read. The story of Olivia Bradley, and how she swept into my world like a typhoon and left me a heartbroken mess in her wake. No, that isn't a story that I can finish or share. There's too much of me in it. It's far too personal for me to put out there. Not that all stories don't contain at least little pieces of their author. Most of all, how would I end it? I always swore that I'd give my readers at least a hopeful ending. Given that reading is a means of escapism and stress relief for so many, it's the least that I can do. However, the story of Olivia and me doesn't have a happy ending. Portraying it any other way feels like fraud. But I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. Chapter 2. August, 1997. I push through the crowded hallway and finally locate my locker. This school isn't a quarter of the size of my old one, yet I'm still paranoid that I'll be tardy. I twist the dial to enter my combination and sigh when it fails to take on the first attempt. My anxiety ratchets up a notch as I try again, and thankfully succeed. I quickly toss my bag in and grab a notebook for my first class, AP Literature. Fortunately, the classroom is just down the hall. I flip the door shut and head in that direction, unsurprised to not see a single minority anywhere in the hallway as I dodge the chatty bodies along my path. Yep, my mother relocated me from the city to the smallest, whitest town in the country. Fantastic. I try to tamp down my anger, but look at this place. There is no diversity. You need a car to go anywhere, and I can't drive. My mother's third divorce has uprooted me from yet another school, one where I was finally starting to feel comfortable and had finally made friends that I knew for more than 3 years. I thought I'd spend the last 2 years of my high school career there, but I guess not. Now I find myself starting over, new cliques to figure out and new assholes to suss out and avoid. Not that there aren't the same everywhere. You always have the jocks, the rich kids, the kids in band, the stoners, and the overall misfits/nerds. My experience has generally been that the assholes to avoid are the jocks and rich kids. I have zero musical talent, so I'm not in band. Drugs have never held any appeal for me, so the stoners are out. It's with the geeks and the misfits that I usually find my home, which suits me fine. I prefer to fly under the radar, and fully anticipate my mother meeting husband number 4 and uprooting me again before I can get through these last 2 years of school. I only had 3 weeks to pack up my life, relocate, and adjust to this change. "Good morning." A chipper woman I estimate to be in her late 30s greets me as I enter the empty classroom. "You must be Jordan," she says as she smiles warmly at me. Do I seem that lost? I try to joke as she hands me a copy of the syllabus. "Not at all. We don't get too many new faces here, and yours was the only unfamiliar name on the roll sheet." "Of course they don't. What reason is there to move to this town?" "I'm Miss Thomas. Please sit wherever you'd like." "Thanks," I say, giving her a weak smile. I immediately make a beeline for the back corner, preferring to keep the unfamiliar students in front of me, while I begin working out who's who. I settle into my seat and look over the syllabus to see what we'll be reading in what will likely be my favorite course. The Odyssey, Candide, Frankenstein, Their Eyes Were Watching God, 1984, The Woman Warrior, The Color Purple, and a few others. A decent selection that will likely keep us busy. "I love your shirt." I hear from a voice that seems quite close to me. I look up and into the soft blue eyes and confident smile attached to the girl standing next to me. She appears to be a couple of inches taller than me, possesses a slender build and short, wavy black hair. She's wearing a vintage Ziggy Stardust shirt, paired with some torn black jeans, black Doc Martens boots, and has a black and white flannel shirt tied around her waist. She's a picture of the 90s grunge movement. "You know who Tori Amos is?" I ask skeptically. "I was at the show," she answers, her smile broadening. "I have one of the other shirts and a poster. You know, the one with the piglet," she informs me. She's definitely a fan. Only a fan would know about that image. I can't help but return her smile, as a thought that maybe I found a friend, despite not going out of my way to meet one, crosses my mind. "Are you saving this for anyone?" she asks, indicating the desk next to mine. "All yours," I inform her with a flourish of my hand. "I love your Ziggy shirt," I share as I watch her claim the empty seat. "Thanks," she says as she settles herself. Once comfortable, she turns her smile back to me. "I'm Olivia. I don't think we've met before." "Jordan, and I'm new here," I answer, feeling my smile falter slightly. "It's nice to meet you, Olivia," I quickly recover. "You too, Jordan," she replies as her eyes take me in. "Wait, did you move into the house on Oak Road?" "Yeah. How did you know?" I ask as I wonder if the real estate market is so non-existent in this town that everyone here will know where I live. "My friend Katie lived in that house until the beginning of the summer. We're neighbors," Olivia informs me. "That is great. I can totally teach you how to sneak in and out of that house." "I doubt I'll need much help with that," I inform her, earning a questioning look. "My mom works a night shift at the hospital. Even if she is there, I can pretty much do whatever," I explain with a shrug. "Really?" she asks, just before the bell rings. I nod as the classroom continues to fill. Even though the bell rang seconds ago, "I assume you're taking all AP classes too." I nod again as Ms. Thomas begins writing on the marker board. "Awesome. We'll be in all the same courses since there's only one AP scheduled for juniors." This knowledge brings a smile to my lips. Despite knowing Olivia for less than 5 minutes, "We'll talk later," Olivia whispers as Ms. Thomas begins to address the class. "So this is Jen, Mike, Danielle, Jennifer, Christy, David, Mark, and that's Erica. Everyone, this is Jordan." I wave to everyone and give them a shy smile hello. "Take a seat," Olivia invites me as my stomach grumbles. I sit on her right and try to remember everyone's names, but I've already either forgotten or mixed up the order. "I haven't seen you in any of my classes," the girl I think is named Erica says to me. "She's in the AP courses with me, Erica," Olivia informs her. Erica nods her understanding as she chews a bite of her salad. "Where'd you go to school before?" one of the guys asks me. "Waterford High," I share before taking another bite of my sandwich. "Doesn't your cousin go there, David?" Olivia asks. It hasn't escaped my attention that she's using everyone's names again. I'm grateful for the added reinforcement. Maybe I'll have it down by the end of lunch. "Yeah, do you know Aaron Jones?" he asks me after he swallows a sip of his soda. "No, but it's a big school," I reply with a shrug. I'm confident that there are more students in my sophomore class at Waterford than there are in the entire school here. "Did you drive here this morning?" Olivia asks. "We should carpool since we're neighbors." Neighbors, I think, and chuckle to myself. I could reach out and practically touch my neighbor's house in the city. I had to keep my blinds closed because the neighbors had a 12-year-old son who could see straight into my bedroom window. I'm pretty convinced I could sunbathe naked on our front lawn here and not be seen for hours. What's so amusing? Olivia inquires. Nothing. Just thinking I could sunbathe naked on my front lawn, I share, knowing it probably sounds quite unrelated to her line of questioning. She tilts her head and looks at me, waiting for an explanation. I was comparing the concept of neighbors in the city versus Jupiter Falls. You'd have to be inside my head, I guess. Sounds interesting, she replies with an unreadable grin on her face. Anyway, my mom dropped me off this morning before she went to bed. I'll be taking the bus from here on out, I inform her, causing her brow to furrow slightly. I don't have a driver's license. Didn't need one in the city. The bus, Olivia says and shudders. No, I can pick you up and give you a ride home. It's not even out of my way. That's really kind of you, but I can survive on the bus. I insist. We're practically going to the same place. Besides, it'll be nice to have a passenger who shares my taste in music, she says through a chuckle. This lot I'll survive on top 40 in country, she adds, as she makes a face to convey her distaste. Ugh, I concur with her unspoken sentiment. If you insist, I guess I can't say no. I'm actually relieved that I won't be riding the bus, trying to shut out the inevitable screaming from the underclassmen. Good. I'd hate for us to have our first fight already since we just became friends. It'll be nice to have a steady buddy, since none of these guys decided to earn a few early college credits, she says before shaking her head. Not that my parents gave me a choice, she finishes without elaborating. So how do you plan on going back to the city to visit if you can't drive? Sorry, I know I tend to talk a lot and ask a lot of questions, she adds before I can answer her first question. We both laugh at this before I'm able to reply. I was only there for a few years, so I hadn't planned to visit. We've moved around a lot. Oh, Olivia says, her smile fading. Does that mean we shouldn't bother becoming best friends? It would suck if we did, and you moved again. I don't know. I'd rather not change schools again before we graduate, but my mom is a bit unpredictable. I shake my head as I finish my lunch. Besides, I'm probably only this fascinating because I'm all shiny and new. Give it a few weeks, and you'll laugh at the notion of me displacing your best friend. Nah, we're going to be best friends. I can tell, she retorts without further explanation. Anyway, we should get moving. The bell's going to ring in a few. We both stand up, and Olivia grabs my arm before leaning in to whisper in my ear. Remember, starting at the far end and moving clockwise, it was Jen, Mike, Danielle, Jennifer, Christy, David, Mark, and Erica. Thanks, I whisper to her, after repeating the names in sequence 3 times. It was nice meeting all of you, I call out, as Olivia begins to drag me away from the table. Chapter 3. My mom wants me to invite you over for dinner, Olivia informs me as soon as I close the car door. We're a week into the school year, and as Olivia predicted, we've become fast friends. I guess having all the same classes, sharing a ride to and from school, similar tastes in music, and being neighbors will do that. No problem. I'm sure my mom's going to want to meet you soon anyway, especially since you've been giving me rides and everything. And everything? She questions, before backing out of my driveway. Yeah, you know. She asks how I'm doing at the new school, like this is the first new school I've gone to or something. She wanted to know who's giving me a ride, how classes were, all of that. I think she knows that she really pissed me off with this last move, and she's trying. I just need time, which thankfully I'm getting since she works nights now. So you aren't close? We are. I think she senses I'm a bit fed up, though. I barely hear Olivia's contemplative hum over the music. This school and town aren't all that bad, you know. I mean, we have full access to all the AP courses thanks to the community college. We have a coffee shop, a video rental store, a small movie theater, a pizza place / ice cream shop, and a diner. I want to argue that I had all of those things and so much more in the city, but I refrain. I know, but the quiet and the privacy are strange, and the lack of public transportation is hindering. I glance over and observe the strange expression on Olivia's face, reminding me that we don't know each other as well as it feels like we do. Meeting you has certainly been unexpected. Unexpectedly good, I hope, she says with a sideways glance at me. Yes, of course, I assure her through a chuckle. Good, she says as she turns to smile at me as we wait at the only stoplight in town. Yes, one stoplight. Even the intersections that dot Main Street are controlled via stop signs. You should come to dinner tonight. I have to work Friday and Saturday night. You work? At the video store, she answers as her head bobs a few times. It's easy work, but the pay's crap. I do get all the free rentals I want, though. Plus, the owner is totally relaxed and doesn't care if I have a friend hang out with me, as long as I keep the store in order and customers don't have to wait for help. Olivia returns her focus to the road when the light turns green, starting the last mile of the trip to school. We can study there anytime we want. I know I'm going to need all the help I can get wading through math and chemistry. Chemistry is mostly math, I inform her with a chuckle. I can help you with those in exchange for help in psychology, and I'll write to the other stuff. Even after a week, I sometimes struggled to keep up with Olivia's questions and suggestions, her mouth often running at speeds my mind can't seem to match. We have a deal. I'll write to what, though? Dinner or the store stuff? Both, I guess, I answer as we pull into the parking lot. My parents won't be home for at least another hour. I usually start dinner, so you're welcome to come over now, or you can come by later. Up to you. Olivia finishes as we walk into the small supermarket that supplies the town's inhabitants with their sustenance. You can cook? I ask as I gape at Olivia in complete shock. I'm not a professional chef, but I do all right. It's fun, she adds with a shrug. Spaghetti and meatballs sound good? Yeah, I'm pretty easy to please. I would have just had a sandwich or something if I were eating at home tonight. Oh, and garlic bread. We need to grab a loaf of bread so we can make garlic bread. Of course, I say and laugh, surprised that she's making the bread instead of buying one of the frozen, ready-to-bake loaves. An hour and a half later, Olivia has taught me how to make meatballs, marinara sauce from scratch, and prep the perfect garlic butter to spread on the bread before we toast it in the oven. I watch her work, totally mesmerized, oblivious to the song we have blaring on the stereo. Mom, we're listening to that. Olivia stops working and protests when the volume suddenly drops a few decibels. I assumed, but it doesn't have to be so loud, the prompt reply comes. The voice oddly familiar. Do you have a guest? The disembodied voice asks, the strengthening volume letting me know its owner is nearing. Jordan, I'm glad you could join us for dinner. I turn towards Olivia's mom and stare in stunned silence as I register Olivia's quiet chuckling behind me. You didn't tell her, did you? She directs at Olivia. I tried, she answers through another bout of laughter. I didn't want it to be weird, though. Olivia takes a minute to compose herself before continuing. Jordan, I believe you know my mom. I don't wait for Olivia to finish before I slide off of my bar stool and cross the room to hug her. Your last names, they aren't the same, I managed to stammer. They're not. I'm not married to Olivia's biological father. Another fact she probably didn't bother to share, she answers, as she shoots a displeased look at Olivia. It's all right. I'm glad I get to see you again. I always owe you a lot. I hated not knowing about the move so I could thank you and say goodbye. You don't owe me anything, Jordan. You did that all on your own, she answers before giving me a quick pat on the back. Thanks, Mrs. O'Connor, but we'll have to agree to disagree. Hey, Mr. O'Connor, I greet Olivia's stepfather, the history teacher at Waterford. Now that we're neighbors, do try to call us Jim and Renee, Mrs. O'Connor requests. Okay, Mrs. O'Connor, I immediately reply. Oops, that's going to take some getting used to, I inform her as I struggle to fight the feeling that I've incorrectly answered a question in one of her classes. I turn to see Olivia watching us, her expression full of curiosity. Right, well, this isn't weird or anything, Olivia mutters, before returning her attention to the saucepot on the stove. What's up with you and my mom? Olivia asks as we hang out in her room after dinner. My eyes dart everywhere as I try to take in my new surroundings. Posters for Labyrinth, Spaceballs, The Princess Bride, Pulp Fiction, and various bands and artists cover the walls. The desk in the corner sports a container of art supplies and a newer Macintosh PowerBook. A television rests on top of her dresser, along with a VHS player. The sound of Olivia clearing her throat draws my eyes away from her video collection and my attention back to her. So I've told you that we've moved around a lot, and you've clearly known that your mom used to be one of my teachers. Olivia nods, but waits for me to continue. I was assigned to your mom's class my first year at Waterford. I was furious about being relocated again, and in complete rebellion. I stopped making any effort when it came to school. I spent all my time at school writing or sleeping. Most teachers couldn't have cared less, but your mom was an exception. She checked my records and knew I was capable of getting good grades. When I refused to talk to her, she threatened to take my notebook. My stories were in there, so having it confiscated wasn't an option. They were the only thing I cared about at that point. Over time, she ended up becoming a mentor of sorts. She'd critique my stories, make suggestions, help me with progression and flow. I don't know, in some ways, I feel like she saved me from myself. I was falling in with a bad crowd. She took an interest, helped me with something I was passionate about, and guided me away from the people I should have avoided altogether. By the time I left Waterford, one of the girls was pregnant, 3 of them had been expelled, and another had been arrested. I shake my head as I think about the fates of those girls, fates that I could have shared. I feel as if I owe her a debt that I'll never be able to repay. Why didn't you tell me? I was going to, Olivia sighs. It's not like I knew the first day of school. I only found out late last week when I mentioned your name and Mom asked who you were. She realized who you must be right away and asked me to keep an eye on you. So the rides and you being nice? No, Olivia interrupts me. I offered all of that before I knew. I didn't know you thought of my mom that way. She never told me anything other than you were her student at Waterford. The silence stretches on between us as the Foo Fighters quietly play on the radio. Is that what you want to do? Be a writer? I don't know what I want to do. I enjoy it, but I'm not sure how practical it is to believe that I could ever support myself as an author. Deep down, I know that it's what I want to do for a living, but realistically, I know I need to have a better option. What about you? Are you considering art school? Maybe, but it's sort of like writing, isn't it? I really love cooking as well, and making food is like creating art in a way. I don't know, she says as she shrugs her shoulders. We still have time to figure it out. Yeah, we do. I agree as a soft knock sounds from Olivia's door. What? Olivia calls out before the door opens partway. Jordan, you're very welcome here any time, but if you two have any homework, you'd better get it done, Mrs. O'Connor warns us. We did it already. Olivia quickly responds and makes a shooing motion with her hand. You're welcome to stay, she says to me. I want you in bed at a reasonable hour, though. You have school in the morning. She reminds us as she closes the door. Was she that annoying at school? Olivia asks as she rolls her eyes. She cares. It's nice, I reply. Yeah, Olivia sarcastically replies, letting me know she doesn't necessarily agree. Do you want to stay? I should go home and see my mom. She has to work the next 3 nights, so I should check in. I don't miss the disappointment that flashes across Olivia's face when I turn down her invitation. I'll see you in the morning, though, right? Of course. The usual time, she replies with a quick smile. I'm nearly asleep when I swear I hear a tapping on my window. I roll over and scream when I see someone squatting on the roof. My heart is still pounding erratically when Olivia lowers her hood and reveals her laughing moonlit face. I quickly slide out of bed and make way to the window, unlocking it and pulling it open. We have a front door, you know, I say a little too harshly, my heartbeat still racing from the adrenaline jolt I just sustained. I know, but what if your mom didn't go to work? It's after 11. I didn't want to ring the bell and piss her off, she manages, through another bout of laughter. I'm guessing she'd have had a bigger problem with you scaring me half to death, I inform her, finally able to see some of the humor in the situation. What are you doing here? Are you going to take out the screen and let me in? She asks, no longer bothering to whisper. Oh, right. I quickly snap to it, popping out the screen and standing aside so she can climb in my window. How the hell did you get up there anyway? Easy. I climbed up the trellis on the back of the house and walked around on the roof, she answers with a proud smile. I told you I'd teach you how to sneak in and out of this place. Katie and I did it all the time. Well, feel free to leave via the front door, I tell her as I replace the screen and close the window. I just left your place. What's going on? I wanted to make sure things were cool between us. You left kind of abruptly earlier. I hope you aren't upset that I didn't tell you about my mom, or think that I've only talked to you because she asked me to. We're good, I assure her with a wave of my hand. Do they know that you're here? No, they think I'm sleeping. They both sleep like the dead. I'm pretty sure a bomb could go off and they'd sleep right through it, she says with a shrug. You want to hang out for a while then? I doubt I'll be going back to sleep anytime soon. Sure. Want to watch a movie? All right, you pick though. I'll probably fall asleep before it ends, I answer as I open my closet door and flip on the light so she can see the selection. I crawl back into my bed and prop up my pillows against the headboard as she starts the movie.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?